I stopped at a little country store and got some Fox Farms potato chips and some yogurt covered pretzels. Taki's had 2 pretzels and a small bit of chips. We're coming into the little town of Sinclair that flows into St. Agathe. This actually might even be St. Agathe, I'm not really sure. Maine. And they border Long Lake, which is the lake that I mentioned earlier, that has quite a few camps ringing the lake. It has a little island in the middle of it called Pelletier Island. The Pelletiers are a French family in this area that are well known, prosperous, and there's a lot of them. So yeah, I think this is considered Sinclair. St. Agathe's the next little town we'll go through. And hopefully, well, we will. We'll get a better view of the lake here in a minute. It's off to our right. That little building's new since I was up here about 4 or 5 years ago. I hope you can hear over the wind. Let me turn this up, I guess. There we go. It's cooler today. It's been unseasonably warm in the 80s every day, which is unusual for June in Maine, in northern Maine. Oh, people like. But today, it's more seasonable. I've got a sweater on. I am wearing a skirt. But I could do with a pair of long pants. It was chilly enough. I would guess. Well, my truck says it's 65 degrees. But there is a cold breeze that makes it feel colder. Normally I wouldn't have to wear a sweater at 65 degrees. But I like it. I'm happy because it's not RV park there. It's been so hot. Like I said, 80s and 90s, and it's been pretty unbearable. I don't even have a fan in the truck. I should get myself one, but I just haven't. I expected to be cold at night up here. I left my big bolster on, my big puffy blanket. Yeah, but I have used it, but it hasn't been very cold at night. I haven't really needed it. A lighter blanket would have been fine. And there's a couple nights, but I couldn't use any blanket because it was so hot. So there's Long Lake. In the midsummer time, there's lots of boats out there. And as you see, like I said, it's ringed with camps, and a lot of these camps are year-round homes, not just camps. Some indeed are just camps, but others are year-round homes. We've got some rental cabins, and some old docks in the water, Long Lake camps. And it twists around up there and goes around the corner, the lake does. Most of the inhabitants in this area are French descendants, and in fact French is probably the most common language you'll hear spoken out and about, if you're in the grocery store or post office or whatnot. You'll hear all the people conversing in French. It's funny, there are some English speaking people, but most of the inhabitants are French descendants. And the dialect they speak is French Canadian, but I think it's even a little more different than that. Years ago I went up to the Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec, the county of, or the province of Quebec, Canada. And we had people that had come over to take this canoe trip that were from Paris, I think, France proper anyway. This is a Long Lake Sporting Club, and they used to have a restaurant there, I thought. I don't know if they still do. Maybe they do. Anyway, back to the canoe trip. We had the Parisians. We had a couple from Montreal, Canada, which is predominantly French. And then we had the guides and guide assistants who were Acadian French from the Quebec Gaspé Peninsula province. Me and my son were the only, we're the only Americans and the only English-speaking ones. Luckily, I had taken French in high school, so I could grasp some of it, and luckily also, you know, we mostly paddled and sang Broadway show tunes when we were paddling on the river, so I was good there. But the Parisian couple and the Montreal couple and the Acadian French speakers all also had difficulty understanding each other because the dialects were so different. They were all speaking French, but it was all different dialects. So, like I said, that's one thing about non-French French and French not of not modern French in France, but the French that's still spoken in this area, that from the French settlers that came over years, you know, in the 1700s. So there, we will come into Saint Agathe pretty soon. It's the next little town, and I think it's just so cute. So I'm gonna keep filming. We got some little farmlands out here. Taki really doesn't care. She just doesn't understand why I won't give her any more yogurt pretzels. She accepts the fact that, once again, I'm videoing. And that means she gets split attention. I just gave her one. She's pretty happy. You like those? You like those yogurt pretzels? We've had 3. I think that's enough. Like sugar and salt all in one. Yeah, these Fox Farm chips, if you can get a hold of any, best chip you've ever ate. You can mark my word. It's funny, we just passed some potato industry stuff. How this is a sought after lake. People want to be here. They want camps here. But also industry comes right down. There's a golf course, I think it's right about there. There's a potato farm on the island, Pelletier Island, in the middle of the thing, which is right, should be in the frame. It's right up here at the top of the lake. And then you do have these things, a few of these McMansions. But I think it's funny, you just have the regular folks with their regular houses on this side of the lake. Well, on all sides of the lake. The old farmhouses, which are nice. I have a love for the old farmhouses. I'm not sure if that hill is not part of Pelletier. I don't think so. I think the hill is on the far bank. Oh, yeah, I think so. Some of those houses that you can see, I think, are on the shore of Pelletier Island. And then there's a little, it's almost connected, yeah, it's almost a peninsula rather than an island. I don't think the water between the island and the northern shore is very wide. I'm not sure. I haven't been. I've been by there, but I haven't been onto the island. I don't think. Now that I say that, I think actually I did get lost one day and ended up on the island. I can't remember. It would be worth running across there. We have to go kind of that way to get to where I'm going, but we'll have to go in and out to the island, so I think I'll sleep it. This whole trip is eating into my gas, which I decided was worth it. You know, $28 is what I'm going to end up spending to come up here. $8 of it is my chips and my pretzels. So I think it's worth the spend, even though it represents an awful big chunk of my gas money. Still have not heard from Lowe's. I called in, I got a hold of somebody. I was thinking of staying at that boat ramp tonight if I don't stay at my uncle's. Anyway, I called, spoke with a supervisor person. He said he passed the message on and have not heard back. Gave him my new number. It's the oddest thing. Alright, now we're in St. Agatha. This is considered St. Agatha. You think, Taki? You're just really interested in those pretzels. The water's really ruffled up. I think they've had, well, I know they've had some issues with too many septic tanks up here, causing water quality issues. I'm trying to think if it was algae bloom or something a few years ago when I was up here before. But it was attributed to that. And they did go through and make everybody connect to town water, I believe. But for years and years and years, all these homes and camps particularly were just on septic tanks and wells. But it's a quaint little town in northern Maine. One little store up here on the left. But that's Long Lake. That's Pelter Island right there with the wooded area there. But like I said, there's a big farm in there, and I think. Sorry, I can't really tell driving by this quick. I know there's the turn off is here at the right. I think that right there. I think that what we can see right there is the island. Ah, come on. I'm gonna turn this off because she's barking, and I think we've seen all we can see of the lake.